Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Unicorn Hunt. As you know, we conduct interviews with the founders of the most promising startups who have the potential to become the next unicorn. And today we have with us is Mr. Pawan Raj from Senior Experts. Welcome, Pawan.
Hello, Kushbu.
Well,
Nice
I'm
meeting you.
going to jump on to the rapid fire questions. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, sure. My I come from Andhra Pradesh. I'm an Indian. I had most of my studies here till my bachelor's. Then I worked with TCS before moving on to my MBA, and I did my MBA from New York. It's from St. John's University, Tobin College of Business in finance and investments mostly. Then later on, I always had this passion to move. Instead of having a traditional job, it's always to take up much challenging opportunities, right? So I was always uh, focused on that approach, and that's where I picked up the startup ecosystem, and it was the boom then and there. And the entrepreneur journey, you know how it works, right? So I wanted to take up the challenge because in normal employment, what we do is we study 100, but we do 10. But in if you go and work in a startup, it's like you know nothing about it, and you have to give your all. Even you whatever you've done till now, it's not even sufficient to achieve success, right? So that's when I started to move on to the startup world. And after I came back, I had to come back from US. I did when I was still in US, I had a couple of opportunities to work with the likes of Pfizer, Sugar Foods Corporation, AXA Advisors, and a couple more internships I've done there. But later on, I had to move on personal reasons. Then once I came back again, I still pursued the startup world, Indian startup again. It was then actually I came back in 2019, late 2018 from US. Again, that's when I learned Startup India movement has started in India and from since 2016, and that's the boom. And then again, it gave another push to start pursuing my career in startups. I wanted to be creative, bring something, understand the gaps in the system, and give something back to the society, which we've learned more from, right? So that's when I started my journey with Makers Hive Innovation. They are also a booming startup now. Uh, one of the with startups. I mean, I'm personally acquainted with one of its co-founders, and I started my journey with them. The company name is Makers Hive Innovations. They launched India's first fully functional bionic arm in the country. Then later on, it even further improved my passion towards becoming an entrepreneur myself. And in late 2019, I decided to go and become investor first to to explore the whole Indian startup world. So I had the opportunity to invest in a couple of businesses before I start my own. Then I went on and created my own venture called Avoid SUP. Avoid SUP, Investment in Services Private Limited. I wanted it to be uh, an investment, a funding machine to whoever, the small time capital supplier to these startups or even early stage companies who require that growth capital just to move forward, to get their targets, to reach their targets initially. That's the reason I started it. But then later on, I picked up another passion that the one thing I always believed in is to, networking. Uh, I always believed in diversifying one's profile and networking to that effect. So I wanted to create a concept called Invest Your Network and Information. While doing that, in that process, I met my mentor, Anil Kumar Sidhu. He's also one of our directors and investors now. Uh, he's one of our angels. So I came in touch with him. It was purely coincidental, but our ideas matched. He has similar passion, and I have a similar passion. We both believe in the networking effect uh, and having people around us, creating a support environment, and build an ecosystem around it. So that's how we thought of it. He has during our interaction, we came up with this idea. I have a framework in mind to this network effect, and he pitched in his idea about senior experts. Then we co-created that platform. We wanted to elaborate and take it forward. That's how Senior Experts was born in October 2020, 2021. It's 2022 now, right? Yeah, so October 2021, that's the inception of Senior Experts.
So I'll just right now like to quickly hop onto the rapid fire questions about Senior Experts. And my
Yeah,
first
sure, please. Go ahead.
be what are the pain points that you're aiming to solve with Senior Experts?
The pain points, yes, definitely. See, before we stress on the Senior Expert itself, we have not just one. While our main focus is definitely on the senior citizens of the nation, we wanted to address two pain points here, if that's exactly what we're discussing about. First is definitely senior citizens of our nation. It's not just a random number, or it's just not one or two. They constitute over 10% of our population now. That's almost over that 13 million 138 million senior citizens are there in our nation. And ironically, we in India, we call ourselves the Vishwagurus for everything, where the knowledge spread all across the globe, is what we say. But it was very unfortunate. We do have a backstory behind this, but let me explain this first. We identified that there is no support mechanism post retirement in India. Of course, there are quite a few NGOs, non-profit organizations out there, even all across the globe, not just in India, even all across the globe. There is no specific private player willing to create this uh, second innings income generation, like a financial freedom, right? Once you retire, it's not like you're tired of your life, right? You want to do something, you want to give something back even after you retire. You want to stay occupied in one way or another, and you don't want to depend on anybody else. None, especially not the children, definitely. Right? And nowadays, every second generation is uh, crossing borders for better opportunities. Now our nation is left with all our nation is left with is the senior citizens and other experts who almost, even I was one of that case at one point in time. My parents are retired, uh, so I could relate to that story myself. So that's what we thought. We should have a system in place that's no one ever touched in India. So that's when we created this senior experts platform, and we wanted that to become a second opportunity uh, to the senior citizens. So that's the first pain point. That's about senior citizens. And the second point is SMBs of our nation. During the COVID, we have seen it directly. I mean, even our government offered 20 lakh special package, right? 20 lakh for a special package from and offered it to the businesses who are going to suffer, who are suffering from all these pandemic after effects. But even then, hardly any SMB had the plan and approach to get the package done, because they lack the knowledge or how to get things done, how to approach the government to get these grants taken or get these amounts to their accounts, right? So that is where we thought, okay, again, SMBs became another struggling segment during that pandemic period. According to a report by Your Story, almost 25% of 65 million, uh, 6.5 million, no? 65 million, yeah. There are over 65 million SMBs in India now, and they have 74, more than 75 working unions for supporting these SMBs. But still, 25% of that number almost either went to losses or shutdowns or bankruptcies. So this only happened because now with all the startup boom and focus towards entrepreneurship, most of these organizations are they lack expertise, knowledge, domain skills, contingency plans, how to run the business, and especially if they are from the first generation, if they are first generation entrepreneurs, right? So 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 SMBs are the second pain point. They're also a struggling segment of the nation, and there is no clear support from the governments itself or their unions out there or any other community. So we thought of bringing these two people together on a common platform and engage each other. So businesses are our demand, SMEs are the demand, and supply is from the experts. So we thought of bringing this demand and supply together.
Perfect. So now
So
the plan, but why would you say what you're doing is actually working towards the pain points that you're trying to solve?
definitely. I mean, if it was a question for a few months back, then I would have mumbled a bit. But now I can definitely say for sure, because since our launch, we did launch our product early on by January, but that's just a beta version. But later on, the current version people can view and see and engage on is launched officially on March second to third, between second to third week of March. And since then, our volume, the response we received from these experts is so huge, and we didn't expect to reach that volume in a very short span, because we are more focused on validating and making this idea viral. But we never expected we get so many registered users in a very short span. Within 6 months, we got over 17,000 registrations. Yeah, you may say there are companies out there who got more than that number, more than 70,000 users in a very short span. But here, what we're targeting is not just any segment. These are SMBs and business senior citizens of the nation. So this is a very segmented target audience we are focused on, right? So we need to consider that into account. These are not any normal modern techniques won't work. We have to follow some conventional ways to reach out to them, because their presence is very low on social media, as you can see. 60s people over 60 right now means they are from the 1960s 1960s generation. They are the ones who have seen it all and done it all, right? That's one generation who can say that they've seen from no phone to now the smartphone, and even Meta now. Meta universe. So they've seen it all. So it takes time to get them onboarded. We weren't even expecting. We thought even 10,000, getting 10,000 is a good number in a short span with what we are putting in. But we received responses from over 17,000, and more than 17,000 users are registered with us now.
And why would you say you're the best team for this business, for this opportunity to be placed in front of SMEs and the skill experts?
Yeah, I must support definitely. Even if before we enter into any whether it's business or building a project or anything for that matter, we always see what fits right into our plan, right? Everybody should align to our vision first. What I could say is, this is not a team that came up after we had the thought to go and create this create senior experts. This is a team that were before senior experts happened. This is a combination of visions that made senior experts possible today. So on that note, we have I should talk about the immediate directors right now. So to me and my co-founder, Mr. Anuj, and we have two other directors as well, Mr. Anil and Mr. Mr. C.H. Chelam. So we four are the founders and directors of the company, and we, like I said, this is a combination of business and senior citizens. You please remember that. And our other two directors exactly are the ones who fits to that criteria. You know, they are our experts, mentors, and everything. Without them, even the current senior experts is not at all possible. Definitely. So and they have been in the industry. Even before we started, we finished our schooling, right? So they've known the business world much better. They are into the business segment, and one from account, Mr. Chalangaru, come from CA background. He know the accounting world better, and Anilji is an all-rounder. He's uh, jack of all trades. So he is the main, he guides us in every step. He keeps us on our feet every time. Uh, giving us directions in the right way. So we don't lose our feet. And other thing, I already come from the business background. I did my MBA. So I have actually at least 3 to 4 years of understanding on the business world before I enter into I venture into the startup world. I've done my research and main focus, and even my co-founder, Mr. Anuj, he also comes from both engineering and now he's pursuing psychology. Psychology that works in our favor definitely, because this is one segment that we need to keep on targeting the customer behavior always uh, before we to evolve any further. Right? So other than that, we do outsourced and taken a couple of other teams from many places, like the current marketing team, like they see marketing project, and they are already working with many other agencies like MSMEX and others. And VoiceWorks is another outsourced platform for us, and they are giving the outbound services right now. Yeah, I can say as a founder, and I can say my team is the best to run this particular project.
Sure. What would you say are the upsides, logically speaking, and as per your, wildest dreams?
Yeah, I can give you two right away. The first thing is the first mover advantage in this niche segment of targeting senior citizens in the private segment again. We are the very first private players. The second thing is, the second point is, like I said, we have 138 million, right? So our focus for the next 5 years is to accumulate at least 10 lakh registered users with us, registered senior citizens with us. Even if we could achieve 10% of it, or if we could convert 10% of it on our platform, that in itself makes us the largest aggregator of senior experts across the globe. There are, like I said, there are so many platforms out there, but not in the private segment directly. Uh, but all other organizations have very limited numbers. Hardly, for example, if we can take SES from Germany as an example. They have experts to the tune of 12,000. Just that 12,000 has worked on at least 60,000 projects across the globe, and they are wide known. We had one of our directors, and Anilji had a project with those experts before, so we know how they work, and we know. So that's one example I could put here. So if you take that number into account, a 1 lakh aggregating even 1 lakh experts is the biggest platform out there for seniors. Sure. Or the senior experts.
And what would you say are the risks associated with the business?
Honestly speaking, I don't see any risk, because even if you talk about the target audience or the users that's coming onto the platform, this platform is a discovery platform. Senior experts. So senior experts is a discovery platform. Yeah. So once the registered users, it's up to the user, from the both sides. Whether it's SMB or senior experts, it's up to them to post a project and apply for it and get the job done. Yeah. So even the contract execution and everything, it's up to both the users. We are giving a convenience platform where these two parties can discover each other, and the demands can be met, and the respective demands can be met, right? So they can support each other, where SMBs can offer projects to experts, and seniors can offer their services and make money out of it.
Definitely. Right. Sorry, you were saying?
No. So as we're not hand-holding any target audience directly, yeah. So the risk involvement is completely the conventional. If we're being very specific about it, if you want to deep dive, then there is definitely the data risk, security risk, because we are a SaaS platform. Yeah. The information security. So those are standards that we need to adhere to, and that will get it done sooner or later. So, but at this point in time, I don't want to call them as any risk. We're not running on any risk, definitely.
Right. I'd just like you to give a quick elevated pitch. You would like our investors to know, like just a summary, a brief. You just want to give as a pitch, last few conclusion lines.
I can say our target is not small, definitely in the next 5 years. Our main focus is to aggregate at least 10 lakh registered users on the platform as experts and at least a lakh businesses, SMBs registered with us. So even converting 5% of it is a potential revenue stream. So yeah, say let's talk about 10% for convenience sake. Our target is if we can convert at least 10% of the 10 lakh users, that in itself will bring, that in itself is a right now I must also say the revenue to revenue models to make them, to make it more understandable. So we're working on two revenue models right now. We may bring more later on, but right now we have a subscription fee model and a transaction fee model. A transaction fee model. So, for example, if we take just the senior expert, his basic plan starts from 500 per month, 499 per month, and 5,000 per year. So, on a year basis, if we could have this 1 lakh users at the end of 5th year subscribed with us, that's in itself is a 1 lakh times 5,000. That in itself is a 50 crore business.
Well, lastly, just thank you, Mr. Pavan Raj, for joining us today. Hope you get hunted and spotted really quickly. All good wishes for you.